All right, music fans, welcome back. Harmless Dave here, talking real music in real time with some real crazy issues thrown in just for the fun of it, doing it for real people just like you and just like me. So, how are rockers rallying support for Ukraine? The United States, we have gas prices soaring. We've got people out of work. We've got people underemployed these days. We've got families in crisis. We've got all of these issues. We've got a culture war that's raging out of control. We've got Hollywood and the Oscars, which, again, that was another fun distraction from all the problems we have. And, of course, we've got Russia and Ukraine. When the conflict began, rockers took to social media. Wow, that's how you support Ukraine. You take to social media and you talk. But as the war continued to rage, many have stepped up their efforts from words to actions, like Dee Snider. Of course, Dee Snider. Now, look, Dee is, I think, part Ukrainian. All right. I'd like to cut this guy more slack because some people say, you know, if you ever met him, he's actually really a nice guy. Okay, that's fine. But he's for every cause I can't stand, including telling people for the last 2 years about, you know, their own body and their own medical stuff and, you know, and going well beyond just an advocate for his side, going into places that people should never go if they want to convince others to follow their point of view. I was absolutely infuriated by the way he did that, and I'll continue to speak out about it, just like he's using his celebrity to support Ukraine, a guy who hasn't had a hit song on the radio since 1985, people. I get it, though. I get it. But he's allowing the Ukrainians to use "We're Not Going to Take It." But he's not too fond when, like, the deplorables here in this country want to take that song and use it against their own government because their own government sucks. All right? I don't care if you're left, right, center. From the standpoint of, is it efficient? Does it work well? Do people get the help they need? Are these people listening? All of the above is no, no, and more no. But, you know, we're not going to take it. We can't use it. But the Ukrainians, they're going to get to use it. Okay. And then he reworked a music video for his song Stand, originally released on his 2021 solo album, Leave a Scar. Didn't know about the solo album until this whole campaign started. He says, I just couldn't get around how well the lyrics resonated with Putin's attack on these innocent people. It resonated with Putin's attack. Okay. Ukraine was the furthest thing from my mind when I wrote the words for that song. Yet it was like I had done just that, the singer explained when announcing Stand for Ukraine. That's how you alter the title in order to get people to watch the video. The video is part of Snider's ongoing work with World United Live, an online platform focused on protesting in support of Ukraine. Wow. So it's an online, it's not on the ground anywhere. It's online. So that's how Dee Snider went from just words to actions, is now there's an online platform protesting. Okay. Go to antiwar.com. All right. If you really want to find out about all of the wars in their proper context all around the world, many of which have been instigated by this particular country here in the United States. Okay. It's regime change. That's like, hey, I think Putin should go. That's what's called regime change. And typically it results in Americans dying in conflicts that don't have anything to do with our national security or our vital interests. Nothing, zero, nada. It's just, you know, funding for Raytheon. And people know this, or some people know it, and they just continue to obfuscate the reality that it's not going to do any good. This is just, you know, raising awareness. We need to raise awareness for this and that. Like people say, I want to raise awareness about cancer. And I go, so people don't know about cancer? No, they know, but we need to raise awareness. Okay, so what does that mean exactly? How about you raise some funds or help individual people get the treatment they need because it's very expensive? You know, that would be cool. Look, this is going to create a ton of refugees. And my theory is this is what people who are in these high positions of calling the shots around the world, you can call them globalists, you can call them oligarchs, whatever. This is what they want. They want more chaos, and they would want this to go on for a very long time. That's why there were peace talks yesterday, and there were a lot of people saying, oh no, I don't know if anything's going to come of these peace talks. They're kind of dumb. I wish they'd just knock it off and get back to the war, you know, so we can continue to have this going on in the background. So Americans just can forget about the $5 gas that they're paying for in some places. So also Queen and Paul Rogers, that was from 2008, but they did this concert in Kharkiv, which is Ukraine's historic Freedom Square. And of course, Brian May announced that all of the proceeds from this concert, which I guess is on YouTube, will be going to the UN Refugee Agency. Apparently, it's raised $5 million in funds. They'll put like a banner on it that says fundraiser, and then people can click on the banner. Imagine, I mean, people must have a lot of disposable income, right? Imagine you try to fill up your gas tank. You're looking at 50, 60, 70 bucks more if you've got a high profile vehicle. It's just crazy. Okay. That's why they want you to get an electric car, which costs like 65,000, you know, a good one. And then you'll be fine, except you have nowhere to plug it in half the time. This is just insanity. I mean, people are really suffering, and they're being convinced to give their money away to the UN Refugee Agency. Meanwhile, we've got refugees crossing our southern border here in the United States. Okay, so do you give you give money to European refugees? I know you've got these non-government NGO, I think they're called, and they pick up these people, and they've got a plan, and they've got funding, and a lot of that funding comes from our own federal government. It's just wacky and weird, but this is mostly just to manipulate people's brains to start thinking about this cause. This is the honorable cause. This will allow you to keep tweeting. This will allow you to keep Facebook posting, right? A special band t-shirt was created by The Cure, with all net proceeds helping support those in Ukraine. Okay, when people say helping support those in Ukraine, how is the money going to get there, and who's going to give the money out? Who's going to administer the funding? Just curious. The shirt, by the way, features the group's logo in blue and yellow on the front, colors of the Ukrainian flag, while the back has the words, "However far away, I will always love you," a quote from The Cure's classic 1989 hit Love Song, which I think most of these stations has focus tested out of existence. It's a pretty good song. And there's more. There's Faith No More, Rammstein, Stabbing Westward, Filter, Ministry, all doing a rendition of Come Together by the Beatles. The track was posted to Bandcamp, with all proceeds benefiting UNICEF. UNICEF, there's a really high-profile charity that, shall we say, isn't the most efficient charity. Bon Jovi has done his part. Civilians in Odessa, Ukraine were seen loading sandbags and preparing to defend their homes in a video that went viral on social media. Bon Jovi's It's My Life blared in the background, accompanied by a live drummer as men. They were sandbagging and they had a live drummer? Okay. Does this sound kind of like staged? As men and women pitched in to help, the video soon made its way to John Bon Jovi, who retweeted it with one of the song's poignant lyrics. "This is for the ones who stood their ground." The video has been watched more than 1.8 million times. So how does the video being watched 1.8 million times help the people of Ukraine? I don't know. Oh, it's raising awareness. Okay, thank you. It's just my brain just kicked in. Foreigner turned Vegas residency into fundraiser. You know, I'm going to Vegas and I'm wanting to just unwind and spend the money and have a good time. And I guess if I have a few too many drinks, I'm going to give to any cause because I'm going to think to myself, yeah, what the hey, right? Foreigner announced that they partnered with the American Red Cross, the American Red Cross, to help raise funds for Ukrainian relief efforts during the band's residency at the Venetian Resort in Las Vegas. Performances run on select dates through April 9th. Foreigner will give $5,000 each night of the residency to help the cause, while Red Cross representatives will be on site at every concert accepting donations from fans. So Foreigner gives $5,000 and then fans are going to give more money, right? And again, this is an institution called the American Red Cross. So I'm wondering, I know it's an international organization, but you know, it's the American Red Cross. There are people all around this country, our country, that need help. And each and every day that goes by, we are told this new cause is the thing you need to care about. Not homeless veterans, by the way, who are on the streets by the thousands. Homeless veterans, full stop. You don't give a dime to any other country or cause until all of our homeless veterans are cared for. And there should be no such thing as the two words homeless and veteran. Those two words, that should not exist in the lexicon. All right? That is like, I don't know, government intelligence. Those two words don't go together, much like homeless veteran shouldn't go together. And yet we're going to do some fundraising, and we're going to somehow get this to Ukraine, a country that I think was ranked third in corruption last time I checked. And I don't see how that's going to work out with their infrastructure pretty much destroyed and people displaced. I mean, there are people who are staying, but no word here about, you know, peace talks. Like, everybody should be talking about peace and how we get to that place, which is through diplomacy and negotiations, which is ongoing and happening as I speak. But nobody is talking about it. Nobody's reporting on it. But they're still egging everybody on to just raise awareness. And to me, this is all about optics. This isn't about fixing the problem. It's about optics. I read what these people are actually doing. And yes, in the case of Foreigner, they're giving $5,000 to the Red Cross. That's probably the safest one of all of these. But that money should be going to people here in the United States. You got people that are hit with natural disasters all the time. March is infamous for tornado activity. And each and every day I hear about new tornadoes that are hitting various places in the heartland where mostly deplorable Americans live, the ones that are forgotten about, the working class in this country. See, the working class can't use their celebrity to raise awareness on their own behalf. And few actual celebrities turn out to be normal people when you talk to them. They seem to be a little bit above you and I, you know, and it's really pathetic that I read an article like this and it's all about, well, I feel good about myself because I raised awareness and my video has been watched 1.8 million times. And I'm really big on TikTok too. And I'm big everywhere. And people know about this. Really, people don't know about this via the everyday onslaught of information that never stops. Again, like I've said before, we've been waterboarded with information that has destroyed lives for the past 2+ years. And we transitioned instantly to this new narrative, which in a roundabout way will again destroy more lives here in this country. And because people are going to ignore the problems that are occurring here in favor of this, it's a war, and we need to, the United States, because we're not the world's only superpower anymore. And frankly, we were always part of a group of superpowers. But what's occurred now is we're not even number one. We're not even really close when you have China, Russia, India, and other countries that are really just saying, look, we don't need America's help anymore to function in this world. We don't need an economy that's a global economy. We can make our own stuff. We know America doesn't really make its own stuff anymore. And that is one of the biggest problems this country faces. We could put lots of people back to work. We could change the educational system so people get vocational training rather than this liberal arts nonsense where you get your credits and now you think, oh, now I can, get into any job if I want to. And you have no experience still doing anything. And now you're 22 years old and you've wasted 4 years. Now what you going to do? This is all, I don't want to say it's by design, but nobody thinks this stuff through. And we're all worried about these cultural issues, which are also making people weak because they're leaning on some kind of crutch, some kind of an affliction or problem, or they're a victim of something. They're a victim of their own mind and their own circumstances, and they have no desire to improve themselves, none. They want to rely on somebody to either make their problem go away or tell them that they're just part of a huge group of people who are all in the same boat because of what someone else did, and it's blaming someone else, whatever, and again, I kind of said the same thing in two different ways, but it's true. And if people don't snap out of that, our country gets weaker and weaker. And having support for a cause is fine, but actually doing something to fix the problem, and in this case, Ukraine, Russia, the best thing would have been to listen to what Russia was saying and say, is this feasible? Should we negotiate with this, or should we just have a prolonged war, a prolonged conflict? My answer would be diplomacy, diplomacy, diplomacy. Listen to what they want. And if it's reasonable, which I think it's 100% reasonable what they want, you could have ended this like a week into it. But here we are now, many weeks into it. And this gives celebrities the opportunity to show how celebrity they are. And it's partly a class problem. Like a lot of these people think they're better than us. And the other issue is the media always turns to celebrities instead of turning to real people who know what they're talking about. And then people get their health information, they get their information about geopolitics and diplomacy or lack thereof from celebrities. And again, like I said, don't take your health advice from any celebrity, and don't take your foreign policy advice from any celebrity. It's just madness at this point. All right, so that's my super long video. Sorry about this. When I started reading this article, I said, really? Rockers are rallying support. That's what they're doing. They're just, being aware. They're out there. They're doing their part, which what is $5,000 a gig, and where is that money actually going to go? Nobody knows really, but it'll make people feel really good who do it. So that's the whole point.